So you do with breaking news. I'm back for to it. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you always watch the full video.
Yo, I just want to know where all the energy at. The Young Thug situation. I stood quiet 2 days just watching it play out. You spoke for 2 hours. 2 hours.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, bruh. I wasn't expecting that. 2 hours. In my opinion, that is a podcast, bro. That's a podcast. Especially as a nigga that do content, bro. That is a for sure podcast because nigga, it's like to go 2 hours, right? You gotta be asking and answering questions back and forth. That's the only way it's gonna go that long. We all seen podcasts and podcast interviews, whatever. If the person being interviewed is just not it's giving short, quick answers, the video is 30 minutes, 40 minutes. We've seen Breakfast Club interviews. If the nigga giving bull answers, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, then they're out of there. 2 hours. That's a full blown conversation, my boy. Like they were like these are your friends, and for it to come from Thug, a nigga was not expecting that, bro. But it just goes to show you how gone the streets are, bro. The streets are gone because like nigga, it be too quick. It be too quick for a nigga talking high power to easy switch, and then certain people act like nothing happened.
Now, 6ix9ine is a name a lot of people haven't heard in a while. His name was everywhere a few years ago, but after his incarceration, the trial, the release, and the headlines about snitching, things started to go the other way. In early August 2020, during the pandemic, he eventually got out, dropped a whole lot of music, but things went quiet on his end. The last time we spoke about 6ix9ine was when the US government seized a bunch of his assets for unpaid back taxes. And now he's back crashing out on the rap game, specifically on Atlanta rapper Young Thug, who recently got caught up in snitching allegations due to his cooperation with the police. Now yesterday, 6ix9ine posted a video on his Instagram story calling out the rap game, but he had some things specific.
The only thing though that it's like again, even though it shouldn't be a difference, but it is. Like that, like again, that's what messes the streets up even more because it's too many different versions of snitching. You got dry snitching, you got self snitching, you got wholehearted snitching. For Thug, it's like, well, at least from the outside looking in, it hasn't been nobody locked up behind things that he said. He's just doing too much talking, right? For 6ix9ine, you got a few niggas locked up doing heavy time. That's the difference.
To say about Young Thug.
It shouldn't be one, but it is.
Who's been making headlines after an interrogation leaked where he was very chatty with the police, okay? Thug was definitely a chatty patty. The whole situation is shaking up the street side of hip-hop, and one thing a lot of people are pointing out is the hypocrisy of, the so-called street code. It always seems to apply when it's about selling an image, but when real life hits you in the face and you're in that interrogation room, maybe not so much, right?
Yo, I just want to know where all the energy at. The Young Thug situation. I stood quiet 2 days just watching it play out. Watching what excuses the people come up with. Every day, every year, every time a nigga come out, y'all move the goalposts further. Oh, nah, bro, it's different. No, it's different, bro. It's different.
I just said that, see? Like, it's at least when you look at the history of, like, gangs, I guess, it wasn't no different. If you're telling the police anything, that's it. That's all. It don't matter if you was lying. It don't matter if you didn't nobody get locked up. You're not supposed to talk to these people at all. That's how it it was supposed to be or was whatever. But now it's about, especially when I when I seen a post from Thug. He said he wasn't snitching. He was trying to help his brother. What you think them other niggas was doing? Them other niggas was doing the same exact thing. They was either trying to help themselves, they was trying to help a friend, help a family member, they was trying to help somebody. Like, it was just funny when I seen it. It was like, wow, that's crazy. But again, bro, it'd be too easy for people to talk high power and then do that and then act like nothing happened. Because that's crazy. Yes, nobody has been locked up yet, but for you to be who you are, Young Thug, You in jail, holding it down while your damn it, your whole hood is folding and taking plea deals. You held it down and beat the case. That interrogation thing was not supposed to be. It wasn't supposed to happen, bro. Especially if you got the money that you got, lawyer. Soon as they get the question, lawyer. That's the only word that you know, lawyer. You got money, nigga. You ain't looking. You not getting a public defender. You got money.
Bro, it's different. You told like before 12 in the afternoon, like that's a forbidden rule. You can't do that. Bro, it's okay, bro, because he told after 3, like, bro, it's so easy. They tell you have the right to remain silent. Anything used against you could be used in the court of law, whatever the case is. You have the right to call an attorney right now. You spoke for 2 hours. 2 hours. It's me beating a horse. Like, I'm not saying that. Y'all heard what y'all heard. Where's all the energy at? Why hear everybody quiet? Why little baby 21 Savage, Future? Why you not saying nothing? And I'm gonna leave this shit real clear. Me, I do not give a f. I don't care. I don't give a f. Since I came home, y'all know it. I wore my shit from day one. Yeah, I did it in what? I'm outside. Y'all know I'm outside.
So as you could hear, he did ask a very good question, which is, where is all the energy for Young Thug, who now has these allegations over his name? Atlanta rapper Gunna, who used to be a part of Thug's YSL group, was someone who got a lot of pushback.
And that, it's like for Gunna's situation, and again, even though it shouldn't be no difference, but the thing that happened with him was that even though Thug still beat the case, he still got out, but it's like according to people, again, you in there saying yes, ma'am to them. They ask you, is YSL a gang, or do you have knowledge of your, like, YSL members doing certain things, yes, ma'am, and all that? That sounds hella bad. That sounds hella bad. Like, you have knowledge of your friends committing crimes? No, I don't. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. But you said, yes, ma'am, bruh. So, for everybody that's looked in, including myself, mind you, we ain't lawyers, but we thought him saying that made Thug's case even worse. But it didn't.
In criticism.
But again, you are a person who's supposed to be in the streets too. You ain't supposed to be saying nothing, bro. So again, it sounds dumb, but again, there are civilian rules and there are street rules. The things that you do in the streets are dumb. So they come with dumb rules. So there are rules that you have to abide by. If you commit a crime gets committed upon you, you cannot say, hey, it was this person that did it. Even if they say, if you don't tell us, we're giving you 25 to life. You have to accept that 25 to life. Sounds dumb as hell, right? But them are the rules.
From rappers for taking that Alfred plea deal back in 2022. And Thug, like a lot of other rappers, has been very vocal about his disdain for the concept of cooperating with the feds, and aimed at criticism towards rappers in general, but specifically Gunna. Now, 6ix9ine is someone who's always been defined by 2 things: his antics and his cooperation. For anyone who doesn't know, 6ix9ine used to roll with a gang called 9 Trey Bloods. That was his way of gaining protection, but also credibility from the streets. Rolling with real gang members made his image believable, and he was able to use it to his advantage by selling records. But like always, when you mix rap,
I do not believe that. Not for 1 second, bro. When I first seen 6ix9ine's video, I was like, this is crazy. This shit fake as hell.
But the streets, things eventually take a turn for the worse, which it did. At the height of his career in November 2018, it all came crashing down. Tekashi and a few of his close associates were taken down in a massive federal bust.
The rapper Tekashi 6ix9ine, whose real name is Daniel Hernandez, appeared in federal court for sentencing, stemming from a gang racketeering trial. Hernandez pleaded guilty and provided extraordinary cooperation to federal prosecutors that enabled the takedown of the 9 Trey Gangsta Bloods gang.
ATF.
You know why I knew that shit was fake? Because real gangbangers don't move like that. This is not banging on wax. This is not the 90s. This is not the early 2000s. This is 2025. Moving like that, you're telling the police that you bang. Banging comes with a crime. That's a crime within itself. Like you get gang enhancement. Niggas getting washed up on gang enhancement. Like your crime can be small, but that gang enhancement will wash you up. That's how I knew that shit was fake.
NYPD, Homeland Security, all moving in at once. What made it crazier was the timing, because just a week before, 6ix9ine sat down on the Breakfast Club and said that the only two things he feared were God and the FBI.
One thing I feel like, no, two things. God first and the FBI.
And then within days, the FBI actually showed up at his door. After his release, however, 6ix9ine's career wasn't the same. Getting the same type of buzz he once had was impossible for him, and his name hasn't been in the conversation anymore. He also became blackballed from the street side of hip-hop after his cooperation with the authorities, and a lot of people have stood firm on the fact that he shouldn't get any support due to that. Now for 6ix9ine, there were some aspects that came into play, like his own gang actually turned on him, which was a big part of the reason why he testified in the first place. Back in the summer of 2018, he was kidnapped by members of the very same crew he was rolling with. At gunpoint, he was forced into a stolen car. From there, they drove him around the city, stopping every so often just to beat him up and taunt him while he begged for his life. And 6ix9ine is one of the only rappers in history who's had the entire street side of hip-hop turn their back on him completely. I mean, rappers were extremely vocal about him snitching. Everywhere you turn, there was somebody saying something about it. And now we have Young Thug, who's in the same exact situation. And 6ix9ine is pointing out that the hypocrisy is very loud. If you haven't been paying attention, there's been a lot of people coming out in support of Young Thug, and I'm talking about in the rap industry. A lot of the same people who's had a very strong stance against the so-called no snitching code have all been trying to bend the rules, because Thug has a lot of influence in the game and a lot of these people want to be on his good side. And 6ix9ine is getting a lot of attention for speaking his mind in this manner, and he's of course getting some pushback to what he said. His reputation overall has never been great in hip-hop in general, and Thug is a rapper who's very liked in general. I do believe that 6ix9ine is the wrong messenger here because he was caught up in the same scenario. And I'm sure we can all agree that the issue with 6ix9ine goes way deeper than just snitching.
Yeah, like it's right message, wrong messenger in the 6ix9ine situation. I feel what he's saying though. It's like nigga, like y'all came at me for this nigga. He did the same thing, nigga. Y'all not on him. But again, you got people locked up and he didn't.
I personally never cared too much about it. Sure, he was trying to sell an image and pretend like he was about it, but then again, that wasn't very hard to decipher. And for this particular story, I actually do agree with 6ix9ine. It's honestly sad that there's so many grown men who could be doing so much more in this world instead of worrying about and trying to enforce a so-called street code that doesn't exist at all. Personally, I feel like street culture and hip-hop overall is eventually gonna die down. And as a matter of fact, I personally think it's heading that way. People are way smarter these days, and they can tell when someone is faking the funk, because 99%.
True that, but the street culture over the hip hop will never go away. Will never go away. The streets will never go away.
The rappers in the game are actors, and I'm talking about the street rappers, because you can't be a famous gangbanger and get away with committing crimes. It eventually catches up to you, and we've seen that in so many scenarios on hip-hop. Part of the reason why people have been attracted to that type of image, especially in the past, is because there's always been a little bit of a question mark.
And there's a difference between bangers and members. Thug is a member. I don't think he's outside banging on nobody.
Did they really do everything they're talking about? And that question, I believe, created the intrigue in itself. It's almost like watching an action movie and you don't know if it's based on a real story, and it keeps you playing out a lot of the scenarios that you're seeing on the screen in real life. That's why guys like King Von, especially after his death, became so popular. Everything about his demeanor, everything about his energy screamed, I did that. But then again, how much of who Von was an act? That's another conversation for another day. Now these days the gag is up, okay, and people know better than to believe fictional stories about all the crimes you've committed. Once in a blue moon, you do hear about some people who are very dumb enough to put actual crimes they've committed in the music, and that's when the social media department of the police get alerted, and there we go with all those football numbers again. I know a lot of people don't like 6ix9ine, but can you really blame him? He's not only gotten blackballed from the rap game, but people dragged his name through the mud for years and called him a snitch. They called him a rat, all types of names, which he technically is, right, like a snitch. However, when someone everybody loves ends up being in the same scenario, suddenly people are trying to change the rules of the game. Why? Because people love being selective. And that's what 6ix9ine is obviously seeing. You can't fault him for speaking on it because, again, all these guys dragged him through the mud and dropped all kind of rat emojis in his comments, and all he's saying is, hey, let's keep the energy consistent here. Can we do that? And that's a message he's sharing with the street side of hip-hop, who obviously won't listen to him, but I'm sure it's uncomfortable for a lot of these guys to see that even the biggest people who claim that they're about it actually aren't. It makes complete sense because obviously a lot of this is...
Facts. The fact, bro. Again, it'd be too easy for niggas to talk high power and then turn around and snitch. Them, Sally, I ain't gonna say all the time, but some of the time, them be the ones. You talking too high power. The niggas that's really active don't even say much. Them niggas don't do too much, bro. Like, they might punch on you when you get to like doing too much in front of them. But for the most part, them niggas be laid back until it's time to do what they need to do. The niggas that's talking high power, yeah, they still be doing certain things. But them be the Sally, them be some of the ones that's gonna tell you soon shit get rough. Soon they gotta go in. It could be they gotta go in for your crime. Or they gotta go in for a crime that they committed with you. They're telling. They high power, but they not gonna go down for you.
Or should I say all this is entertainment, not real life. And I'm very happy that we've gotten to a point where this, generally speaking, seems to be the sentiment, at least for the most logical human beings. Let's just say that we can see through it like CT scans. People just aren't buying it anymore. And quite frankly, I think people are just overall tired of street culture because it's causing so much dysfunction out here. But anyway, what y'all think about 6ix9ine crashing out on Young Thug? Do you guys agree with 6ix9ine, or do you think he's wrong for this? Very curious to hear.
I agree with him, but to a certain extent, because again, even though it shouldn't be differences between snitches, should have one. It should only be one type. Telling is telling, but it is in his situation. It is a difference between what y'all did or how things happen behind what y'all did. You got niggas locked up doing time, and some of these niggas are doing time for the crimes that you told them or paid them to commit. And that's even more crazy. That's like, again, the nigga talking high power. The nigga talking high power be the one telling people to go do certain things and then telling them niggas. I'm telling y'all, bro, the streets are so dumb and done, bro. It's time to just let it go, bro. It's time to let shit go. But sadly, ain't nobody gonna let it go.